So let's go ahead and kind of get started here with the webinar basics. Essentially, this webinar is for anybody who's new to WordPress, even or you may have used WordPress for years. So really both. I do my best to address newbie questions and then some of the more technical questions at the same time. If I dig into one or the other in too much depth, go ahead and you can ping me or let me know. But I do try to get as detailed as I can for both categories or groups of people. We also have theme developers sometimes on the call on the webinar, and so they may be interested in some of the more technical aspects of the product. If you have those technical questions, you can always send those in to help at IDX Broker as well. So the other group that may be on this call are the people that may have IDX Broker Original now and want to migrate over to the Platinum plugin. We've made it pretty seamless to do that. So if any of you have the original product and you just want to upgrade to the to the Platinum, some of those details are here. We have some other content regarding those migrations that's available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel as well. So if you have a question about how we migrate your account and so on. Let's go ahead and take a look at, obviously the plugin is available through WordPress.org. You can just type in IDX Broker and it'll give you the plugin details. The latest version is 1.1.3, and we have all the details about changelog and in the changelog regarding what we've added recently. I think that the latest update was last week, and we fixed some things. We added a new feature called a dynamic wrapper page, and this is a page that allows you it automatically creates the page in WordPress that you can then use to dynamically wrap your IDX Broker pages. So this is a great new feature. We just launched it last week, and I'll get into some of the details here in a minute in terms of how that feature works. So one thing worth noting is that for those of you that are, that may not be familiar or have a website designer now and need one, or need a theme, or need some easy way to just plug in your IDX, get your IDX set up along with the website, and you don't have a partner right now. There are a number of theme developers that work with IDX Broker, and one of them is Realty Candy, another one is Agent Evolution, and then IDX Setup. These are, and JC Cyber as well, WP Chromium. This one was customized specifically for IDX Broker, as well as the turnkey demo was set up the same way. We've got also a number of these. These are all IDX Broker themes. So essentially with the themes, what you can do is just embed that or choose that theme, and that theme provider has created a way for you to easily have customized, basically based on that theme look and feel, custom widgets and forms and so on. So this makes it a little bit easier for those of you that may not want to get in and customize CSS and so on. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. So when you first install the theme, what it asks you to do is get an API key. Now, this API key is available to you basically through the email. When we set up your account, we send an API key in the email. This is your secure API key that you use for WordPress and for the WordPress plugin. So you just enter that key in here, hit refresh plugin options, and what happens is the theme or the plugin will then pull in all the widgets, and if you go to the widgets tab, you would see those. It will pull in navigation, so any pages that are system pages provided by IDX Broker Platinum, and then any custom links that you've created. Now, if you have a new account, you don't have any custom links created, so it will show you a little notice saying, go create custom links. Custom links are things like, a results page that focuses on, let's say, University of Oregon Housing or Springfield Home Search or Eugene Home Search. Those are results pages. You can have custom map search pages. Those are all built within IDX Broker Platinum. So, and that's a good segue into just an overview of how IDX Broker Platinum works with WordPress. And there are some plugins that pull in IDX listing information and then display that listing information directly inside inside of WordPress. Our system is a hosted solution, and so what we do is we provide the essentially templates and layouts that match the look and feel of your website, and there are a couple of advantages to that. So one advantage is that you can you have a lot more customization, and there's a lot more of an ability to control how the page is going to look, an individual page, because of the way that that you can modify the CSS, the way that you can set a custom wrapper for each page, and in the hosted solution. Probably one of the biggest benefits, though, is speed. When you're delivering IDX listing data, or when listing data needs to be delivered out to the public, it generally requires, it's a heavy database load. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of resources to deliver a page quickly. We've made it so that Platinum delivers pages and results very quickly. In fact, you can hit results and get 100 listings, and that page would load in a few seconds. So we've done that by having that hosted. You're able to ensure that some of the search engine indexing that you need to get when you have a WordPress site, those pages are indexable, highly indexable, because of the speed of those pages. Google looks at speed along with title tags and URLs and domains and things like that as all important aspects of a site. And so what we've done is, with the hosting, is we've hosted on the cloud, Amazon Cloud, and then we do our best to ensure that all that content is delivered locally to whoever is calling. So the visitor, it'll pull from a server that's closest to that visitor. So we've set that up, and that's one of the ways in which, and I'll get into the SEO benefits of IDX Broker later. I don't want to get too technical right away. I just want to discuss the overview of it. Basically, from an SEO standpoint, when you have a hosted solution, it's no different from having the content directly within your blog or your WordPress theme, and there are some advantages to having it hosted. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But taking a look now at just how this works, so you do have content. There is certain content that does show up inside your system, and that you can add to your WordPress pages. Things like you can add content for neighborhoods and then link out to a neighborhood page. You can add widgets, and Google, I believe a year and a half ago, stated that they're beginning to index the JavaScript, so JavaScript from widgets. And if you look at a widget, just to give you a sense for what I'm talking about here, a widget is, and we'll look at the front page here. A widget is just a search widget here. We've got a search widget, a featured listing widget, featured showcase. These are all widgets that you can add to your site, and those widgets, as I said, Google will crawl JavaScript. Now, they don't always crawl JavaScript, but that is something that they have stated that they do at this point. So again, that's one more way to get both your site and the hosted IDX pages indexed. So let's take a look here at the widgets. When you look at a widget, the widget is essentially, like, let's delete this one. The widget is essentially a drag and drop feature. So you can set up a featured showcase here, and I call this a showcase. So what happens is, after you've set up and synchronized with the API, all the widget code gets pulled into WordPress and then displays it as available through the widgets panel and the links panel and so on. So if I go in here and I add this, and then I hit refresh, I can add any widget that I've already created. Now, this is a showcase widget that was really the footer showcase widget, but you can create your own widget within your dashboard. If you go to Designs, Widgets, Create, and you select your type of widget. If you have an office, you could feature an agent. You could have a featured agent widget. You can add a map search widget. Let's actually go back and add a, I'll just show you a showcase widget. So a showcase widget has different types of properties that can be featured. You have featured properties, you have supplemental properties. Those are any properties that you've added to the system. Featured plus supplemental, your featured agent properties, any sold pending properties. If you've set those properties, those listings to be sold or pending, then they'll show up in a widget that you create around that content. So this panel on this page within IDX Broker is how you create those widgets that then you can drag and drop into WordPress. Okay, so as you create each widget, that's how you get the content in there. So in this case, let's say I want a polygon search, and I create a widget that is based on a search of listings in that area, right? So I'm searching that specific area, and every listing within that area will then show up in that widget. If the listing is outside of that area, then it won't show up in the widget. This is called the polygon search for widgets. Okay, so then I just create this. Do I want it to be responsive? If I have a responsive theme, and this is something we launched a couple days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, excuse me. If I have a responsive theme, and for those of you that may not be familiar with responsive and what that means, many of the themes here, let's take a look here, go back here. Some of these themes are responsive in nature, and that means that when you go to that theme and from a mobile device, it will resize everything. The divs, the structure of the page will resize itself, and then so that it matches whatever the device size is. So what we've done is we've created widgets that do that same thing. So with the widget, if you choose responsive, then that widget will automatically resize the content within the widget based on the size of the screen that the person is on. So no more fixed widgets that are generally standard when you look at some of the IDX solutions available. So let's take a look here to add a widget. I'll just call it new widget. And actually, I'll just leave that blank. Nope, or not. So now I've created it. If I create this widget, and then it builds the widget, and then from the widget, after building the widget, I can preview the widget content. So I can preview it here, and it'll show me any of the listings that that are in that area, in that widget. So the preview will actually take the body or the content area of my WordPress theme and wrap it around the widget. So essentially it's taking, even though this is hosted on, in this case when you first get set up, and back to the SEO question and the questions about, where is this hosted or how is it different, initially we host and display on idx.idxbroker.com. The majority of people who subscribe to IDX Broker Platinum services will change this, what's called a subdomain, and they'll change it to typically something like search.mysite.com, whatever their site is. And that's basically a great way to essentially get credit for that subdomain, but also ensure that your primary domain and the subdomain content gets indexed together within Google, which is the way that Google treats that content. So if you leave it as the default subdomain, which we don't recommend, it's not going to be indexed along with your primary domain. So it's essentially domain masking to allow you to get credit for all the IDX pages without having to mess with short codes and managing everything from within WordPress. All of the IDX content is essentially managed from within IDX Broker Platinum. So, which gives you this enormous, as I said, an enormous dashboard here where you can do a tremendous amount. I won't even be able to cover everything that you can do with the dashboard in one webinar, but We do have some other webinars that talk about various other parts of the dashboard. There's dashboard webinars where you can look at some of the main features, primary features in the dashboard as well. But so this is the widget that I've created. Now this is probably a widget that I'm not going to add to the sidebar because of the way I've set it up. I've set it up as more of a body area widget, kind of the body area of a page. So let's do this. Let's go back to widgets. Whoops. Let's go back here and back to my widget list. Now I've got the new widget, and for those of you that are designers, you can modify the CSS of that widget as well. So we'll go back to the widget. You can see these are all the widgets that are available now within your plugin. If you create a new widget, it's immediately available once you go into the settings page of your plugin and then hit refresh. So you'll be able to see that. I'll call this one new widget U of O. And before I move on to step 3, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about step 3 is adding the navigation. Now that you should have a pretty good understanding of how to add widgets, what you're doing here is you're actually adding widgets to the sidebar. So you're not just adding widgets to pages, but you're adding the widgets to the sidebar. To add widgets to a page, you would go in here and go to Add New, and then create whatever page. U of O area listings or something. That's your page. Put in some content. You have your custom content in there. And then there's a little thing called a shortcode here. And as you can see, that creates a page on your blog or your website. And then with that page, you can add a shortcode that goes directly to your saved widget. So if I go down here, oh, whoops, and I did that without doing the refresh. So it's important that, let's go back. It's always important that when you make a change in Platinum, that you go and refresh the API, because to prevent you from hitting the API limit with our servers, we don't automatically refresh that information. And so now I can go back to pages and create a new page. And whoops, looks like I'll just go back to that. I'll go back to that draft page. And let's do an edit. Okay, so I'm back to that page. I've got UO area listings, and I set that up again through the Polygon search. You could set it up through an advanced field search too, and then it'll display the results. And then I'm going to go in here into this IDX icon, the very last icon. These are all the shortcodes available to you for pages or posts. So you can add links to the mortgage calculator, links to contact form, links to user sign up. That would be a great one. If you want to put your sitemap in, you can do that into a post or a page. There's your featured listings, any saved links that you've created, and then of course the widgets. Now if I go to the widgets, I can see that new widget U of O is right there. So I insert that, and then I'll just type a little text in there, and then publish. And now that's published on that's going to be published on my WordPress site, right? So that page is now available. If I go view page, it will display on UO area listings. It will display whatever I've set up or whatever I've embedded, whether it's a widget, whatever it is. So as you can see, I now have a widget. I now have results embedded within that area. Now with the widgets, you can create results like this. You can modify it so it's you can modify the CSS so you have rows even. You could have just rows of one column, and then have the width be different, or there's any number of things you can do with the CSS if you have a designer. So there's a tremendous amount that can be done with those widgets. So let's go back and Let's take a look at, so that again, that was by adding content to a page and then throwing the shortcode in like this from this IDX panel. Okay, so let's go now to back to the plugin page and the settings, and then I can also answer a couple of questions that have come in here, and that is, I've got one question around demo accounts. Do we offer demo accounts? We don't offer demos, but we do offer a site called ptdemo.idxbroker.com, and if you go to that site, it's ptdemo. I'll put it in the chat here. And that site is used primarily, it's reset every once in a while, and it's used for demos. So you can go in and check it out. You could pull a API key and test it out. That's the account, the test account that you'll want to use. Okay. So now let's move on to the navigation. So I've created navigation link, or I have system navigation links that are pulled automatically from what is essentially the design, the pages area. Okay. So the Pages tab in Platinum contains all these system links. Okay. Now the other thing that it contains is a tool that allows you to build a new search. So you can build a new search page from here. So I want to call new condo search. Now I'll go back to Pages. There's my new condo search. Okay. So that condo search, let's close this out. Hit refresh. That condo search now shows up in my links, my available links. I've hit refresh on the API, and then I've got new condo search. And then remember to always save changes. So now I've got new condo search in there. I've created the page in Platinum. In Platinum, I can see, does this have a global wrapper? I could have a unique wrapper for that page, unique CSS. I could have a custom subheader. I can change the lead registration preferences. I could set it up to request registration, non-recurring on the 5th page view. I could redirect on the registration. I could redirect to my own CRM. I could customize the form message and then save. Right? Now the other thing I can do is I can modify how this looks. I can hide certain elements. Let's say I don't want certain things displayed, or I want them set by default, but I want them to not be displayed. Okay. I'm showing you an example of what we call the email update sign up form, and that's the template I've used, because the advantage of this form, and this is a great form for a lot of our clients, it forces people to think about, oh, okay, well, I'm filling out a search, but then I'm doing it to really get new updates or get new information. Okay, so you can do that, and then the other part that you can customize when you build this new page is you can go in, and if you have an MLS here, and you want to customize the MLS information. Now let's say I want this to be only condo, right? So this little icon here sets the hidden value, so I can hide that, or I can set that to condo by default, or I could hide it, apply it, and now that property subtype of condo is set up by default, hidden by default, and so now that search page, when I pull it in and display it, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, will search only the condo listings. Okay. And I am getting questions here about a wrapper, because I've mentioned the wrapper a couple of times. I'll explain that feature in a minute. But let's take a look here at condo and take a look at it. Whoops. Close some of these out. So let's go up to the navigation, appearance, and then menus. And menus is where you pull in the navigation. So you can pull in, and it'll show me my new page. My new page is right there, add to menu. Okay. It shows most recent, or it might be under view all. But this is how you navigate. This is how you create navigation within WordPress. Okay, is from this navigation menus tab. So I've got new condo search. I save the menu. And then I'm going to view the site. And there's my new condo search. Okay. As you can see, new condo search now has the URL new condo search. And in fact, I can go in and change the title tag too. So I have basically full control over this. It looks like the the width of the template is a little bit big for this particular page, but as you can see, you have all the options that were laid out there. So if I hit results, now as you can see, the results are showing only those listings that are condos. Okay, so I've called it a condo search and I filtered by condos only. So, and I've created that page within IDX Broker Platinum, which is a page that's much easier to create because I can go through the user, kind of the wizard process to build that page out. So it's much easier to create than if I had to create it by hand within WordPress or copy and paste code into WordPress or anything like that. So that's how IDX Broker Platinum makes it easier for you to customize down the road and build new pages in the future. So let's go back. Actually, I'm going to look at plugins here. Make sure. So let's go ahead and update. I'll update to the latest version of the plugin, and then we'll make sure we show you everything that's new and available in the plugin. Yeah, so the look has changed a little bit. And then if we go to settings now, so first off, there's the navigation links and then the add custom links. Custom links is very similar to navigation links in the sense that they are basically links that you created. Go find the custom links, the saved links. These are links that you created that are showing results. So what I just showed you was how to create a search page, a new search page, and then customize it. You can also customize your existing search pages. You have basic search, map search, and so on. You can also create a results page that's customized. So you can build a results page that shows only bank-owned listings, or shows only Eugene homes, or Eugene condos. Okay, and the way you do that is by going into Platinum. And again, there's Polygon as well. So you can do a Polygon results page. Let's take a look at that. And then if I were to create another Polygon, let's just duplicate the Polygon search that we did before, which was, again, this is probably not the way that you would want to set up a Polygon. You would want to zoom in and then really to kind of follow the boundaries of the road. But I'm giving this as an example to show that there are results. I know there are going to be results in here. So you've got that, and then next step. And then with the Polygon search, or with the results search and the custom link is like building a new page. So you're creating a new page called U of O results. You have a meta tag with that. It's very much like as if you had built this page within WordPress, except that you're building it within Platinum, IDX Broker Platinum. And so you're creating meta tags, you're creating meta keywords, and then you can also create a subheader. So for that page, you can put a subheader or content in above the IDX results. We recommend that you add some unique content in there. That's really helpful in terms of indexing, search indexing. Those pages, we have probably more than any other page on a client's site. The custom links get indexed well and show up in search results. We have a lot of clients that have thousands of pages indexed, actually tens of thousands of details pages indexed, but really the pages that count the most are those results pages initially, because they're very specific, and you can build a very specific results page that's U of O condos, or whatever you need to do to set yourself apart. And so in here I'll just add unique content. Now, if you have an office, you can assign to an agent. Okay, so you can assign this link to an agent, and then any of the, if you set up lead capture for this results page, or if somebody hits that page first and then signs up and it's not the featured listing, that agent that sent that link out, and you could give these links to your agents, that agent would then get credit and have that lead assigned to them. Okay, so I'll go to save. I've got U of O results. There we go. So we've got our latest. I can modify the wrapper. So I can have a unique wrapper for the saved link. So I can have a unique, a unique header and footer. I can customize the CSS. I can edit the preferences. So for this one, maybe I want to go back and make some of the some changes here. Maybe I want lead registration set up. Maybe I want forced lead registration. I can control all that from the IDX Broker Platinum control panel. So there's a tremendous amount of content that you can modify within IDX Broker Platinum. Okay, so I have U of O results. Okay, so now if I go here and let's do a quick save changes. And I have my U of O results page now. Okay, so those custom links, that custom link is now available for navigation. And if I go back to the appearance and the menus, I'll find it in there. I'll find that page in there, and I can add it to my menu navigation. Now, the custom link is also available, as I noted earlier, it's also available within your page and your posts. So you can see that U of O results, I could change the title, I could insert it, and put that into a post if I want. So I could link to that page and say, maybe I have an article that I write on my blog, and then I'm talking about that area, that specific area, and then I want to hot link to the U of O results, and then make sure that those results are showing up and always live and dynamic. Those will show up automatically if I put that shortcode in, and then use that for my keyword as my keyword details. So that essentially will then link out to that results page. Okay. So let's take a look. Let's go back to the plugin again. Okay. So with the latest iteration of this plugin, we've created a new option called a dynamic wrapper. Okay. What that does is that allows you, that dynamic wrapper, and there's a little question mark here you can go to get some help. That dynamic wrapper creates a page, and whoops. So I'll call this my wrapper. It'll create the page, but it won't link to it from your system. What it does is it creates essentially an invisible page that can then be used and placed into Platinum. And what you do is you go into here into Designs, you go into Wrappers, and you have Dynamic, you have Global, and then there you paste your wrapper. Okay, and then what that does, it will clear the wrapper cache. It basically it gives you the look and feel of your home page on any IDX page. Okay, so your wrapper, that wrapper takes a page and then mimics it using IDX on the IDX broker pages, and that's dynamic. So as you make changes to your navigation, as you make any changes to your your home page and your navigation, your sidebar, anything like that, that automatically updates the navigation on your IDX pages. So you don't have to contact our support team about having that updated or having your IDX pages updated when you go in and make changes to your WordPress site. So it's as close as we can get to giving you a way to use one system when modifying your site. The reason that you have two systems is because of the number, just the sheer number of features that cannot possibly be built into WordPress or a WordPress plugin, and that not only that, but they're relatively insecure. WordPress sites tend to be open to hacking and various things. We manage all the IDX data for you so that you're never in breach with the MLS contracts, and then you're always showing the correct, the disclaimer, the courtesies, things like that. So that's the other advantage. Now let's take a look now at the SEO aspects of this and what can be done. So there are a few things that you should do when you initially set up your IDX Broker Platinum account. You should set up a custom subdomain, and there's a good article here that talks a little bit about how to set up a custom subdomain. What is it? What does it do? How do I set it up? And you can go through the process of setting it up, and then our system will automatically detect whether you've set it up correctly. So again, that subdomain it's usually people choose something like search.mysite.com or something along those lines. We've had people choose IDX but that hasn't been as useful as or those pages are not as well indexed as pages that use search. Okay, so that's how you set up the custom subdomain, and then from an SEO standpoint, you would also want to go to a page called the details page. Okay, and you go to the preferences of the details page and the SEO settings under there, under your details page, and that's where you change the dynamic URL. This is the dynamic details URL. So if I remove state and zip and city, and I just want listing and address, and it gives an example here, then I hit save. If I go to, let's close this out. So if I go to this details page, click on that link. I have to, oh, that was so I have to go through results again. So let's do a new search. And click on that. Now you can see that the details page URL shows the listing ID, which you could just remove listing ID because that's typically included in the URL by default, and address. And then maybe I want city name, maybe I want zip code included. So I see a lot of URLs that may have city name and zip code and so on. So let's go back. Let's do another search. And again, keep in mind when you make these changes that you have to go through and restart the search because all browsers will cache that information locally. So you'll get the kind of the old details in terms of the URL. Now I can see that I have, here's the address, here's the city, the state, and then I put 97405. Okay. So I've got the full details are in here, and you can do the same thing here with the title tag text. So I can change, I can just add a dynamic tag here. So let's say I want property subtype listed there. I want display name, and then maybe under meta tag description I want the listing description. I can save that, and then again let's go through and do another search. Whoops, I filtered by too many options. Let's do this. Let's do another search. And this page is still searching only condos. So now I go here, and as you can see, it's showing, again, the URL. I've changed the URL to look exactly the way I want it to look up here. Now if I do an inspect element, and I inspect this page using the resources available in Chrome, my Chrome browser, I can go here and I can see that I've created a title that really almost doesn't make much sense because it shows the listing ID a couple times, shows the subtype, it shows the name of the account, and then in this case the description shows up under description. So the best way to do that is to kind of do a little trial and error and see how the MLS is actually sending the data, because you may think, well, I want to add this field or this field to the result, to the custom title tag, and then that will of course show up on every details page. But you want to make sure that that data is good, that's good quality data, and that it looks not good in the title tag, because the title tag is used for generally Google will use the title tag as the link name for a details page, and that's why oftentimes we recommend that you put the address. Maybe you put the address first in the title tag, and then maybe even have the address in the meta description, and then beyond the after the address you might have the description itself. So you keep it very clean and simple, and that's what we would recommend with the SEO settings on the details page. So you have full control over those details pages, and they aren't just established by default for you. You can actually go in and modify those from page preferences. Okay. So that's just one level of customization that can be done. Let's take a look quickly at the demo, and I want to show you the options that are available through if you use a mobile theme. Okay. So a mobile theme is going to allow you to display, whoops, that one's not working. My browser isn't wanting to open that now. Yeah, so this typically will mimic, and we'll get this fixed up after the webinar, but this will typically mimic, when you go to the PT demo page, it will mimic the mobile theme or the mobile design and layout. And the mobile layout is quite a bit different from the standard layout. Let's take a look here. Now this one I'll show you. I'm going to show you a couple tricks here. If I create a user agent, or I download the user agent plugin, and there's some plugins for Firefox that do this as well. But if I go in here and I change once I download the plugin, I can go in here and change the user agent to something like iPhone 4. And in this case, let's take a look at this. That should have changed the... Oh, it's not. It doesn't recognize that particular user agent. Let's see if this does it. Interesting, this page is not recognizing the user agent, but the user agent, basically, the mobile settings allow you to create mobile wrappers and a mobile layout, mobile front end that looks a lot like a mobile device, okay, or excuse me, like a mobile application. And if you go to our IDX Broker page, you'll see some examples of that. If you go to the features, and we go to mobile marketing, you can see that it'll basically show you. Let's take a look here. So here's on an iPad an example of how it's going to look. See if this, yeah, now this is working. Good. So it's just not working on the demo. Actually, I like the look of this one better. So what we've done is we've created a mobile pages that maintain the and I think that the reason I wasn't able to show this with the user agent switcher is because our system is smart enough to know it's just a user agent and not an actual device width. So in this case, we have the actual device width we're using. using a simulator. So here you've got phone number at the top, you've got your name, you've got a logo, your logo. You can save the property. You can contact, they can contact you. They can share on Facebook. It's all of the features that you would normally see in a mobile application, but except that the person doesn't need to leave your site. So they're on your IDX pages and they're getting a mobile experience here. Okay. So as you can see, so then if they, let's say they tap the phone number with their, with their finger, it'll dial your phone number. Okay. So for offices, there's also a way to tag by agent ID. So it will show the agent mobile pages, agents pages, if that person is tagged to that agent. So you can leave those on, or you could just show the standard results pages and details pages if you'd like. The reason that we recommend that you leave the mobile wrappers on is because with the mobile wrappers you can do everything that you could do with an app, but also when you send users if you send a lead a new email update of a new listing on the market, and that person clicks on that link, they're most likely checking that email address on their phone, and when they call that page up, it's going to look nice and clean like this, and they'll get they'll be able to scroll through and see the photos. They could fill out a form and send you a message, and it's going to be a lot better on their phone than something that is where you're giving them a full search page or a details page that doesn't really match their phone or their device. Okay, so with this one, what you can do too is you can turn off tablets. So let's say you don't want that mobile approach or that mobile app look for tablets, and let's say you have a responsive theme. You can turn that off and then just rely on your responsive theme and your responsive widgets to give it a nice mobile look. So and that's something that we recommend, is that you maybe turn that off for tablets. That isn't set by default. Okay, so I've covered SEO, I've covered mobile, I've covered how to integrate. I didn't talk much about the settings, how the mobile device or the mobile pages work. With the mobile pages, what happens is our system goes out and detects the viewport. It's called a viewport, and then says, okay, well, this viewport is this width, or this device, this user agent as well, and then displays a different wrapper and that wrapper is called the mobile wrapper, and that wrapper has the look and feel of that, of a mobile device or a mobile app. Okay, now you can customize that to some degree, but you can't modify the wrappers themselves. So if you have purchased a mobile responsive theme, you probably want to turn the mobile wrapper off and then rely on your mobile responsive theme, because then that theme will resize everything dynamically. Okay, so if you do purchase a mobile responsive theme, then you probably would turn that off. Okay, the location-based search is available through those mobile pages. It's only available through the mobile pages, so the mobile wrappers in Platinum. Original has a mobile app, but there's a few hoops that people have to jump through to get the app installed on the phone. You can set up. We had one of our developers in-house set up a quick. They set up a quick little CSS generated script that goes on their site that says, it pops up on the bottom when you go to the mobile device, and it says, add this to your home screen. You could do that without having an app, essentially. And the advantage of that is that when you get into building apps and you get into the app side of things, there are a tremendous number of hoops that you have to jump through to get the app modified or changed. And this allows us and you to modify the look and feel of these mobile pages on the fly. And so it's really the future of what we see as mobile in this space, and allows you and us a lot more control over how those pages look. Now again, if you turn off the mobile wrappers, it'll just rely on the responsive theme, and then you'll have you'll have those responsive themes. Now, note that in the footer, when you're using the mobile wrapper header and footer, in the footer there's a link that says where people can opt out. So they can say, I don't want to see this mobile application version of your page. I want to see the full page, and then that will just automatically turn off the mobile wrapper for that person, for that individual. Okay. So I've talked a little bit about SEO. I've talked a little bit about mobile. I have, I can get into some of the details. I've got about 7 minutes to cover some of the high-level details. I want to show you some great features that we've added in the last 6 months, and then again, if you have any questions, throw those into the questions box. If I don't answer those questions right away, it's probably because it may be a complex question and requires some thought, and we'll take some time and give you some feedback. So let's jump right into a feature that is, I love this feature. So, and a lot of people aren't aware that it's available. The ability to modify the property type, the property type across all of your pages. So you can modify so that only certain subtypes show up on pages. You can set a default min and max. You can set a default property type for your search pages. So you have a lot of control over what shows up on those pages. And here again, you can, if you don't have any focus on any lots of land, you wouldn't see it there. You can modify the core field names, modify the advanced search names. So there's a whole lot that you can do there. Let's take a look here at designs and widgets. Okay. So I showed you how to create a new search page. It's sort of hidden up here in the corner. You can create a search page. You can also create a new wrapper page, but there's also, when we push out updates to various templates. So if you've chosen a template and there's an update available, it'll show this little icon, and then you just hit the icon, and it'll be it'll give you the latest update on that. Okay. So let's take a look now. I want to also show you leads, and leads you have the option of sending credentials to your leads. So as the new leads come in, you get credentials. You can also view notes and see all the details. In this case, you've got a note there on when I signed up on this one. Let's take a look. Let's go back here. So if I go to lead info, and I don't have any on my own lead information here, but it would show you your traffic history, property updates, saved properties. You can save properties for your leads. You can save searches. Okay. So you can create a new saved search that's based on any page, and then assign that saved search to a lead, and then that person will get email updates whenever new listings hit that criteria. Okay. On saved properties, if you save a property, they'll get email updates if the property price changes, if things like status changes, except in cases where the listing may go off market. We don't currently send emails when the listing goes off market, but you would get any changes to an active listing, they would receive an email. And then of course the notes. The traffic history is probably the most used version or used page, and that's why we set that to default, because it tells you what that person is clicking on. What are they looking at? What should you create for them? Now you can also import leads. So if you have a list of leads, you just set up the file in this manner, and then you can do that. Lead registration. If you want to modify, let's say, your thank you page and various things about when account verification, email verification, and then global registration rules. If you want to force people to sign up at a certain point, you can do that, and you can customize that message. So there's a lot you can do there. And if I go back to preferences and global preferences, I want to show you the email settings too. So if you're trying to polish up an email, you can go to email settings under global preferences and send yourself an email, and then see, you can put the signature in there, and that'll send you, the account holder, an email, that basically shows you what it's going to look like when property update email goes out. Okay. So that's just a kind of a high-level view of some of the features available in your account. Again, there's a tremendous amount of features that we've been adding recently. We've added over a dozen features in the last 6 months, and so you'll see a lot of that information in in the knowledge base, and then also in notifications in your account. We push out notifications as we add new features. So one of the other things I haven't touched on really is the listings, and you can modify the listings. One thing people don't realize is sometimes the MLS will send latitude and longitude that's way off. Now, if you need help with that, or you want a better, let's say this pin needs to be, let's say I need to move this pin over here. Okay, that's my new latitude and longitude, and then I save it. Okay, that'll save that latitude and longitude for me, and then that's for my own listings, and that'll ensure that lat and long are always correct. Sold pending listings. Anytime I get a sold pending list, or there's a listing that goes off market, I can set that as sold or pending or contingent, and I can do sold, unknown price. Not sure whether that's, so that should say sold price, but it isn't changing. So if I say sold price is $95,000, save changes. Okay, now I've made that change, and then now if I go to my page, my automatically generated sold pending page that is available as a link through my WordPress site, now I see that listing is available. Okay, so I've set up that listing has gone off market and it's available. The other thing you can do is, let's say you have listings that were in the system or were sold prior to your signing up for IDX Broker Platinum. You can come in here and add those pages in, or add those listings in, just fill out the information, hit add property, and then that property will show up on what's called the supplemental page. Okay, so looks like I have one in there, but so that property would then show up on a supplemental page, and again, that link is available to put into your navigation, or you could put it. Let's say you have an off-market listing or something, but you want it mentioned or something. You can put it in a post. You can put it in anything that's available as a link, or a widget, or a custom link is available as a shortcode. Okay, so anytime you get lost, you can type, when you're new to the system, you're going to want to do a search for certain things, like maybe lead capture or things like that. You can type that in here, and then if you get stuck, definitely you can go to our knowledge base. We've got over 300 articles. There's a new article here about the dynamic wrapper page in WordPress. We are constantly, pushing out new features and adding new articles to this knowledge base. So it's this is going to be a great resource for you, and should help you in terms of integration. So we have tens of thousands of customers, very happy customers. Many of the customers that are the most happy and most satisfied with IDX Broker Platinum are those customers and those people that are very engaged with their site and really want to take it to the next level and have some level of commitment to IDX and IDX integration. I think the most important piece is that you are, you're committed to integrating and making the changes to your site and the IDX commitment that is required to take it to the next level and get indexed and get leads and so on. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're trying to, you're wanting to win business. If you can get one or two closings out of having the right IDX solution or a better IDX solution in place, it more than pays for itself. So, if any of you have any questions for our sales team, you can call this number up here. If you have any, coverage questions, you can go to MLS coverage, and you can see the coverage that we have. and the MLS, and look up your MLS, and then see, you know, when was the last refresh, some of the details around the cities available. And these cities are all live. We're pulling these details live, so these change every day. So these are the current cities that are covered by this MLS, or where this MLS had coverage. So again, give us a call if you have any questions, and thank you for your time today. I ran over by a couple of minutes. Again, the webinar has been recorded. It'll be available on the YouTube channel, and then also you'll see that in the chat box I gave the link to the demo, and then also YouTube. So thank you again for attending the webinar. We appreciate your time, and good luck in the future. Thank you.